The utter failure of multiculturalism. Hi, I'm Brian Lilley, political columnist for the Toronto Sun. When cheers went up in the streets of Toronto after news broke that Iran had attacked Israel, Warren Kinsella wrote a quick piece for the Toronto Sun documenting what was going on and questioning whether this was the end of multiculturalism. Now, this is important because Kinsella, although he is no longer affiliated with the Trudeau Liberal Party, still comes from the Liberal ethos where multiculturalism has been a religion. And here he was saying this cheering on of Iran, an autocratic, theocratic state that oppresses its own people, that will beat women to death for not wearing their headscarf properly, was being cheered over a liberal democracy, a multicultural liberal democracy in the Middle East, on the streets of Toronto. That was disheartening enough. And then Monday came. And what we saw Monday was groups of people carrying out protests supposedly in favor of Palestine, but really at the behest of Iran, the group that is organizing all of this, paying for these well-organized, orchestrated protests around the world. And listen to what they were cheering in Ottawa. Jews, go back to Europe.
And then go back to Europe. They say that they're indigenous, but they all came from Europe. Leave Palestine alone. Leave Palestine alone. Leave Palestine alone. And then go back to Europe.
As if that wasn't bad enough, we also had people in Montreal pledging their loyalty to Sinwar, the leader of Hamas, a banned terrorist organization. Now, that's on top of the shutdown of a bank in Montreal, the shutdown of busiest container port traffic in Vancouver, and countless other protests that were going on around the country. We've got people who have a greater loyalty to terrorist entities, to theocratic, autocratic regimes than they do to Canada or Western liberal democratic values. This is the unraveling of multiculturalism. Multiculturalism done properly was a good idea. Instead of a melting pot, you say, you can come here, you can keep your culture, but guess what? We expected people to embrace Canadian values. And for the most part, for generations, they did. Most immigrants that I know growing up, and by the way, in my neighborhood, if your parents didn't have an accent, if they weren't from somewhere else, you were the odd one out. But we all came together around shared Canadian values of freedom, of liberty, of democracy. And that appears to be gone now. We don't promote these things. We promote keeping your old hatreds, not checking them at the door as you enter the country. And that's what we see on display here with the yelling outside the Israeli embassy in Ottawa, telling Jews to go back to Europe or pledging allegiance to Hamas. I've been saying from the beginning, these are not pro-Palestinian demonstrations. These are pro-Hamas demonstrations, and this proves it. But it also proves that we have allowed to fester in this country ideas and ideologies and loyalties that are extremely unhealthy and unhelpful to Canada's future. Let me know what you think. Drop a comment down below, share this on social media, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel.